Listen carefully. The most dangerous conversation you'll ever have is not with the world, not with your boss, not even with your family. It's the one you're having with yourself right now. That quiet voice in your head has already decided whether you rise or whether you stay stuck. And here's the truth. If you keep talking to yourself the same way, your life will keep looking the same way. But for the next 3 days, you're going to change that voice. You're going to speak with power, with conviction, with certainty, because when you change how you talk to yourself, you change your brain. When you change your brain, you change your energy. And when you change your energy, you change your entire life. This is not motivation. This is science. This is the blueprint to reprogram your subconscious mind and build the wealth, success, and confidence you've been waiting for. So pay close attention, because the next 3 days are not ordinary days. They are the beginning of your new reality. Every morning when you open your eyes, something happens before you even get out of bed. Your mind starts talking. That inner voice begins whispering or sometimes shouting about who you are, what's possible, and what's not. And here's the truth. Most people never realize that voice is not neutral. It's not background noise. It's the architect of your entire life. Think about it. The words you speak to yourself are not just thoughts. They're commands. Your brain treats them like instructions, and your body obeys without question. If you wake up and tell yourself, "I'm tired. I can't handle this day," you've just programmed your body to move through life drained and defeated. But if you wake up and tell yourself, "I've got energy. I can handle anything," your brain fires new signals. Your body responds with strength, and your entire day changes. This isn't wishful thinking. This is neuroscience. Every thought you repeat wires together neurons in your brain. Every word you speak becomes a groove in your subconscious mind. Napoleon Hill called this autosuggestion the deliberate act of feeding your mind with thoughts that serve your purpose, instead of thoughts that destroy it. But here's the problem. Most people never take control of this inner dialogue. They live on autopilot. They recycle yesterday's doubts into today's reality. They say things like, "I never have enough money. I'm not confident enough. I'll probably fail again." And because the brain doesn't know the difference between a thought and a real event, it accepts those statements as truth. Imagine a man who tells himself, "I can't speak in public. I always freeze." He repeats that line for years. Eventually, just standing in front of a room makes his palms sweat, his voice crack, his body shake because he trained his brain to expect failure. Now imagine another man who tells himself, "I am calm. I am clear. My voice carries strength." At first, he doesn't believe it, but he repeats it every day, morning and night. His brain begins to rewire. His body begins to respond differently. And one day, he steps up to the stage. And instead of panic, he feels power. That's the difference between letting your inner voice enslave you and training it to free you. You see, success doesn't start with money. It doesn't start with luck. It doesn't even start with talent. It starts with the conversation you're having inside your head every single day. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's what most people miss. You cannot believe if you're constantly telling yourself the opposite. Belief grows from repetition, from daily self-talk that tells your subconscious, "This is who I am. This is who I am becoming. This is my future." Think of your mind like a garden. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and limitation, you'll harvest frustration and failure. But if you plant seeds of confidence, faith, and persistence, you'll harvest opportunity and growth. The soil doesn't argue, it simply grows whatever you plant. And your subconscious works the same way. Here's the shocking part. Scientists estimate that we think between 6,000 and 7,000 thoughts every day. And 90% of them are the same thoughts we had yesterday, which means if you don't change your self-talk, you're living in a loop. You're reliving the same mental movie again and again, hoping for a new ending. That's why these 3 days matter so much. They break the cycle. They interrupt the program. They give you a chance to rewire your inner dialogue before it wires your future. But let me make this practical. Let's say you're struggling with money. If your self-talk sounds like, "I'll never get out of debt. I can't afford this. I'm not good with money," then your subconscious will work day and night to keep you broke. But if you begin to say, "I am learning to master money. I attract opportunities to grow wealth. Every day I'm getting better at managing my finances," you start to fire different neural pathways. Your energy shifts, your decisions change, and little by little, your reality bends to your words. The same is true in relationships. If you keep saying, "I'm not lovable. People always leave me. I don't deserve better," you'll attract people who confirm that story. But if you tell yourself, "I am worthy of love. I bring value to every relationship. I deserve respect," you start showing up differently. You walk taller. You speak with more certainty. And suddenly, the people you attract treat you according to the standard you've set inside. It's not magic. It's self-talk turning into self-image, and self-image turning into reality. So here's the challenge. Starting today, I want you to become hyper-aware of the words you speak to yourself. Every time you catch your mind whispering, "You can't," replace it instantly with, "I am capable." Every time it says, "This is too hard," answer back, "I find solutions easily." And every time it tells you, "I'm not enough," declare, "I am more than enough." At first, it will feel fake. It will feel forced. That's normal. But remember, the old self-talk felt real only because you repeated it for years. The same way you built those old pathways, you can build new ones. Think of it like carving a trail in the forest. The more you walk it, the clearer it becomes. Your self-talk is cutting new trails in your brain. And with each repetition, they grow stronger until they become the new default. Here's the good news. You don't need years to see change. You can start in just 3 days, because when you direct your self-talk with intention, the brain responds immediately. It's waiting for your command. It's waiting for your voice. And the question is, what voice will you give it? If you've ever wondered why life feels like a cycle that never changes, and the answer is simple, it's because of the way you talk to yourself. Most people aren't defeated by the world outside, they're defeated by the world inside. Think about it. No one has to tell you you're not good enough. You already do that to yourself. No one has to say you'll fail. You've already rehearsed failure in your mind 100 times. The cruelest prison is not made of bars or chains. It's made of repeated words you whisper in your own head. Let's be honest. How many times have you said things like, "I'll never get out of this situation. I don't have what it takes. Nothing ever works out for me." Maybe you don't even say it out loud. Maybe it's just a quiet thought before you try something new, or when you're about to take a risk. And before you even start, that voice has already convinced you not to try. This is why Napoleon Hill warned against negative autosuggestion. He knew that every word we repeat, whether positive or negative, gets planted in the subconscious, and the subconscious doesn't argue, it doesn't analyze, it simply obeys. Your mind is like fertile soil. It doesn't care whether you plant weeds or flowers, it will grow whatever you put in it. And sadly, most people spend their whole lives planting weeds: doubt, fear, excuses, limitation. Then they wonder why their reality looks overgrown with problems. But here's the twist: you didn't start this habit alone. From childhood, you've been absorbing the words of others, parents, teachers, friends, media. Maybe you heard, "You're not smart enough," or "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Be realistic." Don't dream too big. Over time, those voices became your own, and without realizing it, you started sabotaging yourself, repeating those old lines as if they were truth. Imagine a young woman who grew up hearing, "You're clumsy. You'll never be athletic." She carries those words into adulthood. Every time she thinks about joining a gym or trying a sport, her inner voice repeats, "Don't even bother. You'll embarrass yourself." So she never tries, not because her body can't do it, but because her mind won't let her. Or consider a man who once failed at starting a business. That failure plays in his head like a broken record. You're not an entrepreneur. You're not cut out for success. The next time he sees an opportunity, he doesn't act. Not because he lacks ability, but because he keeps rehearsing failure before he even begins. Do you see the pattern? The enemy is not out there. The enemy is in here. And the saddest part, most people don't even notice it happening. They think it's just reality. They say, "I'm just being honest. I'm just telling it like it is." But they're not describing reality. They're creating it. Because your words become your beliefs become your habits, and your habits shape your destiny. This is why so many people stay stuck. They wake up with the same negative self-talk, which triggers the same emotions, which drive the same behaviors, which create the same results. It's not bad luck. It's bad language. Let me share something powerful. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between truth and a lie. If you tell yourself every day, "I can't," your brain accepts it as fact. But if you tell yourself every day, "I can," even before you fully believe it, your brain also accepts it and begins to rewire itself to make it true. This is why athletes, leaders, and entrepreneurs use affirmations not as silly positive thinking, but as mental training. They understand that before you win on the outside, you must first win on the inside. Here's the reality check. Right now, your self-talk is either your greatest asset or your biggest liability. It's either programming you for success or programming you for failure. And the majority of people, without realizing it, are programming themselves to lose. But you are not like the majority. You wouldn't be listening to this if you were satisfied with mediocrity. You're here because something inside you knows the old self-talk has to die so the new you can be born. And the good news, you don't need years of therapy or a perfect environment. You need 3 days of conscious, deliberate, intentional self-talk. 3 days of becoming aware of every word you speak to yourself and shifting it toward power. not weakness. That's all it takes to break the cycle. Because the moment you stop reinforcing your limitations and start reinforcing your possibilities, everything begins to change. Your brain rewires, your energy shifts, your confidence grows, and suddenly, opportunities that once seemed invisible begin to appear. Remember this, you don't lose in life because of who you are. You lose because of who you keep telling yourself you are not, and from this moment forward, that pattern ends more than a century ago. Napoleon Hill discovered a principle so powerful that it became the foundation of his life's work. He called it autosuggestion. And though the word may sound technical, its meaning is simple. The thoughts you plant in your mind, especially the ones you repeat with emotion, will eventually shape your destiny. Autosuggestion is not daydreaming. It's not empty positive thinking. It is the deliberate act of speaking to yourself with purpose, feeding your subconscious with the exact commands you want it to carry out. Think of your subconscious mind like the engine room of a massive ship. The captain on the deck gives the orders, but the crew below follows without question. They don't stop to ask whether the orders are wise or foolish. They just obey. Your conscious mind is the captain. Your subconscious is the crew. And your self-talk is the command you issue every single day. If the captain shouts, "We're heading toward failure, full speed ahead," the crew doesn't argue. It sets the course straight into the storm. But if the captain declares, "We're sailing toward wealth, health, and success," the crew aligns the machinery to make that course a reality. This is why Napoleon Hill insisted that success begins in the mind. Every fortune, every breakthrough, every great achievement starts with a simple thought charged with belief, repeated until it becomes the new reality. Let's make this concrete. Imagine a young man who wants to build a business. If his daily self-talk is, "I'll never succeed. I don't have the resources. I'm not smart enough," then autosuggestion is working, but against him. He's programming his subconscious to block opportunities, to overlook solutions, to sabotage progress. Now, imagine the same young man using autosuggestion correctly. Each morning, he repeats with conviction, "I am resourceful. I attract the right people and opportunities. My vision becomes reality step by step." At first, he doesn't fully believe it. But with repetition, his subconscious begins to accept it. His mind opens to possibilities. He starts to notice connections he ignored before. His decisions align with his words, and slowly, his reality begins to match his new self-talk. This is the law of the mind. What you consistently suggest to yourself, you eventually believe. And what you believe, you act upon. And what you act upon, you become. Hill understood this long before modern neuroscience proved it. Today, scientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through repeated thoughts and experiences. But Hill didn't need brain scans to know the truth. He saw it in the lives of people like Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. Every one of them used the power of focused thought and deliberate self-suggestion to transform ideas into reality. Here's what's important. Autosuggestion only works when you combine repetition with emotion. If you say to yourself, "I am confident," but you whisper it like a weak apology, your subconscious ignores it. But if you say, "I am confident, I am strong, I am capable," with energy, with intensity, with genuine feeling, your subconscious lights up. It records the command and begins to build it into your identity. This is why, in the next 3 days, you won't just repeat empty phrases. You'll speak with emotion. You'll whisper them in the morning with your hand over your heart. You'll walk with power in the afternoon as you declare them. You'll review them at night with gratitude, because the subconscious listens when the heart is involved. Napoleon Hill also warned about the flip side. Autosuggestion works whether you use it intentionally or not. If you repeat, "I can't," "I'm not enough," or "this is impossible," you're still programming your subconscious just in the wrong direction. Every limiting belief is a negative autosuggestion, repeated so many times it feels like truth. But here's the breakthrough. Once you understand that self-talk is programming, you take back control. You no longer leave your mind to chance. You stop letting fear and doubt dictate the commands. Instead, you step into the role of the captain. You begin to speak on purpose. You begin to suggest to yourself the reality you want, not the one you fear. And that's why these 3 days are so critical. For the first time, you'll use autosuggestion the way Napoleon Hill intended it, to deliberately rewire your subconscious and direct it toward success. Imagine this for 3 days. You become the master of your inner dialogue. Every word you speak to yourself becomes a brick in the foundation of a new identity. By day 3, you're not just saying new words, you're beginning to believe them. And once belief takes hold, action follows naturally. This is not theory. This is not hype. This is a law. Autosuggestion is happening in your life whether you control it or not. The only question is, will you keep programming yourself for limitation? Or will you finally program yourself for greatness every single day? Your brain runs on autopilot more than you realize. Scientists estimate that the average person has between 6,000 and 7,000 thoughts each day. That sounds like a massive number. But here's the shocking truth. 90% of those thoughts are the same as yesterday's. Think about what that means. If yesterday you told yourself, "I'm not ready, I can't afford it, I don't have what it takes," then chances are you'll repeat those same lines today, and tomorrow, and the day after that. Your mind is stuck replaying the same mental movie, expecting a new ending but never changing the script. This is why life feels stuck for so many people. It's not because opportunities don't exist. It's not because they aren't capable. It's because their self-talk keeps them locked in the past. The brain loves familiarity, even if familiarity is painful. Your self-talk is like a playlist on repeat. Once it starts playing, it loops automatically. If your playlist is filled with songs of doubt and fear, don't be surprised when your life keeps dancing to that same rhythm. Here's the deeper truth. Every thought you repeat fires the same neural pathways in your brain. It's like walking through a grassy field. The first time, you leave a faint trail. The second time, the trail becomes clearer. After 100 times, the path is so well worn it becomes the only way forward. That's how your brain works. The more you repeat a thought, the stronger the pathway becomes, until it feels permanent. This is why people often say, "That's just who I am." No, it's just who they've trained themselves to be. They've rehearsed the same story so many times that it feels like identity. Let's bring this closer to real life. Think of someone who constantly says, "I'm always tired," every day. They wake up, feel a little sluggish. and reinforce it by saying out loud, "Ugh, I'm exhausted." Their brain hears the command, releases stress chemicals, and signals the body to match that state. Over weeks and months, tired becomes not just a feeling, it becomes an identity. Now imagine if the same person, no matter how they felt, declared, "I'm full of energy. I'm awake and alive." At first, it may sound ridiculous, but if they kept repeating it, the brain would begin to rewire. The body would respond differently, slowly. Tired would stop being an identity and start being just an occasional feeling. Or consider money. If you wake up every morning telling yourself, "I'm broke, I'll never get ahead," your brain goes to work to make sure you notice every problem and miss every opportunity. You literally blind yourself to possibilities. But if you start saying, "I attract abundance, I'm learning to manage money wisely, opportunities are all around me," your brain tunes into a different frequency. You notice things you missed before. You act with more confidence. You make decisions that align with your new words. This is not magic, it's focus. Your thoughts act like a filter, allowing in what matches your story and blocking what doesn't. Napoleon Hill understood this long before neuroscience confirmed it. He taught that repeated self-talk becomes belief, and belief becomes reality. Hill warned that if you don't control your repetition will control you. And that's exactly what happens to most people. They keep thinking the same thoughts, reinforcing the same doubts, reliving the same failures until the cycle feels unbreakable. But here's the liberating truth. Cycles can be broken. Neural pathways can be rewired. The old playlist can be replaced. It all begins when you interrupt the repetition with something new. Think of it like changing radio stations. If you keep tuning into the same negative frequency, you'll keep hearing the same old songs of fear and lack. But the moment you shift the dial even slightly, you begin to hear something different. At first, the new station may sound faint, unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. But the more you tune in, the clearer it becomes. This is why the 3-day challenge is so powerful. It interrupts your brain's automatic programming. Instead of letting the same 90% of yesterday's thoughts control you, you deliberately introduce new ones. And because your brain can't tell the difference between a thought you imagine and a real event, those new thoughts begin to carve fresh neural pathways almost immediately. Here's the catch. The old thoughts won't disappear overnight. Just like weeds in a garden, they'll try to grow back. But every time you refuse to water them, every time you replace "I can't" with "I can," every time you switch "I'm not enough" with "I am more than enough," you weaken the old pathways and strengthen the new ones. Within 3 days, you'll start noticing subtle shifts. You'll catch yourself more quickly when the old script tries to play. You'll redirect your mind toward empowerment instead of defeat. And if you stay consistent, those subtle shifts will grow into major transformations. Remember, your brain is plastic, not fixed. It adapts to whatever you feed it. If you don't like your current reality, stop repeating the same old story. Break the 90% loop. Write a new script. So ask yourself, what thoughts do you want to keep repeating? The ones that kept you stuck yesterday, or the ones that will carry you into the future you truly desire? The choice is yours. And it begins right now. The first few minutes after you wake up are the most powerful minutes of your entire day. Why? Because your brain is in a unique state between sleep and wakefulness, where it is highly suggestible in this window. The thoughts you choose can set the tone for your entire day. Most people waste this sacred moment. The alarm rings, and the first thing they do is grab their phone. They scroll through news, emails, and social media. Without realizing it, they let chaos, negativity, and comparison hijack their mind before their day even begins. By the time they get out of bed, they've already surrendered control. But you won't make that mistake anymore. From this moment forward, you will use your mornings as the launch pad for your new reality. Here's how it works. The instant you open your eyes before your feet touch the ground, place your hand on your heart. This simple gesture sends a signal to your body. Pay attention. Something important is happening. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Then, begin speaking to yourself with deliberate power. Say words that ignite you. Say them with emotion. Whisper them if you must. But make sure you feel them. Today is the day I break free from my old self. Today I step into the person I am meant to be. Every cell in my body is filled with energy and possibility. At first, these statements may feel unusual. They may even feel fake. But remember, your old self-talk felt true only because you repeated it for years. This morning ritual is how you begin to write a new truth. Napoleon Hill called this autosuggestion in action. It's not just about thinking a thought, it's about impressing it on your subconscious with conviction. When you combine words with physical gestures, like placing your hand on your heart or standing tall, you send an even stronger message to your body and brain. Here's why this matters. So much in the morning, your brain waves are still in what scientists call the theta state, the same state children live in during their early years. This is the state where beliefs are formed quickly and deeply. By speaking new, empowering words during this state, you're planting seeds directly into the fertile soil of your subconscious. Now let's make this practical. Picture this. 2 people wake up on the same morning. The first person says to themselves, "I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. I hate Mondays." Their body instantly slumps. Stress chemicals flood their system, and the day spirals downward before breakfast. The second person wakes up, places a hand on their heart, and declares, "Today is a fresh start. Today I create opportunities. Today I am grateful to be alive." Their body responds with energy. Their brain releases different chemicals. And the day begins on a completely different frequency. Same morning, same world. Different inner conversation, different outcome. This is the power of the morning ritual. It's not about forcing yourself to be positive. It's about programming your brain before the old autopilot takes over. And here's the key. You must do it immediately. Don't wait until you're brushing your teeth or driving to work. The moment you wake up, your subconscious is most open. That's when you seize the opportunity. Napoleon Hill often spoke about the importance of definiteness of purpose. Your morning ritual is how you remind yourself of that purpose every single day. You are no longer waking up as a victim of yesterday's thoughts. You are waking up as the author of today's reality. Let me give you a simple framework for your mornings. 1, hand on heart plus breath, the physical signal that says, "I'm awake, I'm present, I'm ready." 2, declaration of power. Speak 3 to 5 affirmations that align with the person you want to become. Examples: I am confident, I am strong, I am unstoppable, I attract abundance, money flows to me with ease, I am worthy of love, respect. and success. 3. Emotional amplification. Don't just say the words, feel them. Imagine them vibrating through every cell of your body. The emotion is what tells your subconscious this is real. 4. Gratitude shift. End your ritual with at least one statement of gratitude. Gratitude is the highest frequency of emotion, and it primes your mind to notice blessings and opportunities throughout the day. Now, here's the most important part, consistency. Doing this once will give you a boost. Doing it every morning for 3 days will begin to rewire your brain. Doing it for weeks and months will transform your entire life. At first, your old self-talk will fight back. You may hear whispers of doubt. This is silly. This won't work. You're just pretending. But those voices are simply the echo of the old you, desperate to survive. Don't listen. Keep going, because every morning you choose your new ritual. If you weaken the old patterns and strengthen the new ones, think of your mornings as the opening scene of your life's movie. If the scene begins with fear, negativity, and doubt, the rest of the movie will follow that script. But if the scene begins with power, clarity, and faith, the rest of the day is written on a new storyline. From this day forward, refuse to give away your mornings. Guard them. Use them to reset your reality, because the way you start your day is the way you shape your destiny. By the time the afternoon arrives, most people are already drained. The morning's energy has faded. All the stress from work or school has piled up, and their inner voice often slips back into old patterns. I'm tired. This day is too much. I just want it to be over. But here's what you need to understand. The afternoon is not the time to give up. It's the time to reinforce. This is your second golden window of the day. The moment where you have the chance to lock in your new identity. Why the afternoon? Because between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., your brain naturally enters another receptive state. It's almost like a reset button. Neuroscientists call this a circadian rhythm. Dip your mind and body slow down slightly, making you more open to suggestion. Instead of letting this dip drag you into negativity, you're going to use it to reprogram your subconscious with even greater intensity. Here's how. Step away from the noise, even if it's just for 5 minutes. You don't need a perfect environment. It could be in your car, in an empty conference room, even in a bathroom stall, if that's all you have. What matters is that you create a pocket of silence to reconnect with yourself. Now, here's the critical difference between the morning ritual and the afternoon reinforcement in the afternoon. You add movement. When you speak to yourself, don't just sit still. Stand tall. Walk with purpose. Move your arms with intention. Why? Because your body needs to feel the truth of your words. Think about this. When someone is depressed, their body slumps, their shoulders sag, their breathing becomes shallow. Their physiology matches their self-talk. But when someone feels confident, their posture changes, their chest expands, their steps are firm, their voice carries power. You can reverse engineer this. If you move like the person you want to become, your mind begins to follow. So as you repeat your affirmations, say them while walking with energy. I am focused. I am capable. I am in control. I attract opportunities. I create solutions. I move with purpose. I am becoming stronger with every challenge. Don't just say the words, live them in your body. Feel them with every step, every gesture, every breath. When your thoughts and your movements are aligned, you send a message to your subconscious that this isn't just theory, it's reality. Let me give you an example. Imagine a man who's been working at a job he hates, repeating the same self-talk for years. I'll never escape this. I don't have the skills. I'm stuck here forever. Every afternoon, his energy crashes, and his words reinforce his prison. Now imagine the same man deciding to shift. At 3 p.m., he steps outside, straightens his back, breathes deeply, and declares, I am more than this job. I am building my future. Every day, I'm developing skills that open new doors. He walks with power as he speaks. At first, nothing changes on the outside. But inside, something massive happens. His subconscious begins to align with his new identity. And soon, opportunities appear that match the story he's telling himself. This is the power of afternoon reinforcement. You're not just repeating words, you're anchoring them in your nervous system. Napoleon Hill often said that repetition is the mother of belief, but belief doesn't grow only in the mind, it grows in the body. When you embody your self-talk physically, you accelerate the process of transformation. Here's a simple framework for your afternoon ritual. 1. Pause and reset. Step away for 3 to 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and remember your morning declarations. 2. Movement with intention, walk with power. Swing your arms with energy. Align your body with your words. 3. Affirm with strength. Speak your affirmations again, but louder, firmer, more certain. Examples: I am alert and focused. I conquer every challenge with ease. I am the architect of my future. 4. Anchor the emotion. Feel the conviction rising. Imagine your words carving themselves into your brain and spreading through every cell of your body. It may feel unusual at first, especially if you're in a place where people might notice. But remember, this is your life, your transformation. The discomfort of being seen is nothing compared to the power of becoming your new self. And here's the secret this afternoon. Reinforcement doesn't just energize you for the rest of the day. It sends a signal to your subconscious that you are serious. You're not just dabbling in self-talk for a few minutes in the morning. You're reinforcing it at multiple points in the day. That consistency is what turns temporary motivation into permanent identity. Think of it like building muscle. You don't go to the gym once and expect to transform your body. You train consistently, adding repetition, reinforcing new strength. The afternoon ritual is your mental workout session, the second rep of the day. By the time you finish, you'll notice your state shift immediately. You'll walk back into your life with renewed focus and energy. And most importantly, you'll be one step closer to locking in your new identity. So remember, don't waste your afternoons. Don't let fatigue and stress drag you back into the old patterns. Use this time to reinforce the story you want your subconscious to believe. Because every time you do, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your future. If mornings are the launch pad for your new reality, evenings are the lock that seals it in place. What you say to yourself before sleep doesn't just end your day, it programs your subconscious mind to work on it all night long. Most people don't realize how powerful this window is. They go to bed replaying stress, regret, or worry. They review the arguments they had, the mistakes they made, the bills they can't pay. And guess what? Their subconscious spends the next 8 hours rehearsing those problems wiring them even deeper into their brain. When they wake up, they feel heavy, tired, and defeated before the day even starts. But you won't live that way anymore. From this moment forward, your evenings will become a sacred time of transformation. Here's why it matters. Your subconscious never sleeps. While your body rests, your mind keeps running programs. And the last program you load before drifting off often becomes the one your subconscious replays until morning. That's why negative self-talk at night is so damaging, and why intentional, empowering self-talk at night is so powerful. So here's the evening protocol. Step 1, review the day with gratitude. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. Sit quietly. Place your hand on your heart and breathe deeply. Now, think back on your day, not the problems, not the failures, but the victories, even the smallest ones. Did you keep a promise to yourself? Did you redirect a negative thought? Did you show courage? Even for a moment, celebrate it. Speak it out loud. Today, I created new neural pathways. Today, I spoke words of power instead of words of weakness. Today, I became closer to the person I want to be. Gratitude isn't just about being polite. It's a powerful emotional state that rewires your brain for abundance. When you end your day in gratitude, you prime your subconscious to expect more blessings tomorrow. Step 2, reinforce with self-talk after gratitude. Repeat your key affirmations. Say them slowly, with conviction, and let them sink deep. I am worthy. I am powerful. I am unstoppable. I am attracting abundance, health, and love. Tomorrow, I rise stronger, clearer, and more focused. This is not about repeating words mindlessly. Feel the truth of these statements in your body. Imagine them soaking into your subconscious like ink on paper. Step 3, visualize your desired future. Close your eyes and imagine the reality you are creating. See yourself living in your new identity, walking with confidence, attracting success, enjoying meaningful relationships, living in abundance. Let yourself feel the emotions of already being that person. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you combine self-talk with visualization, you create a powerful blueprint for your future. Step 4, drift into sleep with intention. As you lay your head on the pillow, whisper one final affirmation. Keep it simple, but make it powerful. Tomorrow, I become more of who I am meant to be. My mind is reprogramming. As I sleep, my new life is unfolding. Fall asleep with those words echoing in your mind. Let them be the last voice you hear your own. And speaking power into your future? No. Let's talk about why this works. Every night, your brain goes through cycles of processing and consolidating information. It decides what to keep and what to discard. If you go to bed thinking about stress, your brain locks in stress. But if you go to bed speaking words of power, your brain locks in power. It's like updating the operating system on your computer. Whatever program you install before shutdown is the one that runs when you reboot. Your evening ritual is the installation of your new identity. Let me give you a practical example. A woman struggling with self-worth used to fall asleep scrolling through social media, comparing herself to others. Every morning, she woke up drained and insecure. Then she changed her routine. Each night before sleep, she placed her hand on her heart and declared, I am enough, I am valuable, I bring light to others. At first, she barely believed the words, but after weeks of practice, she noticed a shift. She woke up calmer, more confident, less shaken by comparison. Why? Because her subconscious had been rehearsing a new story while she slept. Napoleon Hill taught that autosuggestion must be fed daily, morning and night, until belief becomes automatic. The evening protocol is your chance to seal in everything you did during the day. It's how you make sure your 3 days of self-talk don't fade away. It's how you turn them into lasting change. And here's the best part. The evening ritual requires no extra time. You don't need to add hours to your schedule. All you need to do is redirect the last 10 minutes before sleep. Instead of replaying problems, you replay power. Instead of rehearsing fear, you rehearse faith. So tonight, when the lights go out and silence surrounds you, don't let your old voice be the last one you hear. Let your new voice, the voice of strength, abundance, and certainty carry you into your dreams. Because when you do, your subconscious will spend the entire night building the future you spoke into existence. If you've ever tried to change your life and felt resistance like your mind was fighting you, your body was dragging you back, or your self-talk felt fake, understand this, you're not broken. You're experiencing the natural pushback of your old self. Change is uncomfortable because your brain is addicted to the familiar. Even if the familiar is painful, even if it keeps you stuck, your body clings to it. Why? Because it knows it. It feels safe in what it knows, even if safe means miserable. Think of it like this for years. Your brain has been bathing in certain chemicals, stress, doubt, fear. Those chemicals become addictive. Your body literally craves them the same way an addict craves a drug. When you try to feed your brain new chemicals, confidence, gratitude, empowerment, your body protests. It says, this doesn't feel normal. Let's go back to the old patterns. This is why, when you start speaking powerful self-talk, you might hear that little voice whisper, this isn't working. You're just pretending. You're lying to yourself. But that's not truth, it's resistance. It's the echo of the old programming trying to survive. Napoleon Hill warned about this in his writings. He called it the pull of the old mind habits, patterns so deeply ingrained they fight to stay alive. Hill's answer was simple persistence, because every time you repeat the new self-talk in the face of resistance, you weaken the old pattern and strengthen the new one. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who has spent 20 years telling themselves, I'll never be successful. On day 1 of this 3-day challenge, they declare, I am capable of creating wealth. Their old self immediately screams, that's a lie. And it feels uncomfortable, like trying on clothes that don't fit. But if they push through, if they keep repeating it with emotion, by day 3, something subtle shifts. The voice of resistance grows weaker. A spark of belief begins to emerge. And with continued practice, the new voice becomes louder than the old one. This is the process of transformation. It's not instant. It's not smooth. It's a battle between the old identity and the new one. And that battle is proof that change is happening. Think of resistance like muscle soreness after a workout. When you lift weights, your muscles resist the new pressure. They ache. They burn. They scream. But that pain is not a sign of failure, it's a sign of growth. It means you're breaking down the old fibers to build stronger ones. The same is true with your mind. The discomfort you feel is simply your old neural pathways breaking down while new ones are being built. Here's the key. Don't mistake resistance for failure. Resistance is confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. Let's make this practical. When you catch yourself thinking, "This feels fake," answer back, "Of course it feels fake, it's new." But new becomes normal through repetition. When you feel tired and tempted to quit, remind yourself, "This fatigue is just the old me fighting for survival. I choose the new me." When your inner critic shouts, "You can't change," respond with, "Watch me." Every time you push through resistance, and you're not just changing a thought, you're rewiring your brain. You're proving to your subconscious that you mean business. Here's a powerful exercise. Keep a small notebook with you. Every time you catch yourself slipping into negative self-talk, write it down. Then immediately replace it with a new, empowering statement. Over time, you'll see the pattern shift. The old thoughts will appear less often, and the new ones will become second nature. Remember, your subconscious doesn't care if something is true or false. It only cares if it's repeated. The more you repeat, the more it believes. The more it believes, the more it acts. And the more it acts, the more your reality shifts. This is why persistence is everything. Hill taught that persistence is the twin brother of faith. Without it, even the best intentions collapse. With it, even the strongest resistance falls. So when resistance shows up, and it will, don't run from it. Don't fear it. Welcome it as a sign that your old self is dying and your new self is being born. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Yes, it will feel unnatural. But remember, comfort is the enemy of growth. If you stay comfortable, you stay the same. If you embrace discomfort, you evolve. And here's the truth. On the other side of resistance lies freedom. On the other side of discomfort lies confidence. On the other side of fear lies power. So the next time your old self whispers, "This is too hard," smile and say, "Thank you for reminding me I'm on the right track." Then keep going, because every step through resistance is a step toward the person you were always meant to become. Most people believe transformation takes years. They think you need endless time, complicated strategies, or perfect conditions before real change can happen. But here's the truth. Change begins the moment you change your conversation with yourself. And when you do it with focus and intensity, you don't need months. You can feel the shift in as little as 3 days. Why 3 days? Because the brain responds quickly to repetition and emotion. When you direct your self-talk with intention for 3 consecutive days, you interrupt the old cycle and give your subconscious a new script to follow. It's not about becoming a completely different person overnight. It's about creating undeniable momentum that proves transformation is real and possible. Think of it like planting seeds. If you plant a seed and water it once, nothing happens. But if you water it consistently for 3 days, you begin to see signs of life. A sprout breaks through the soil. It's not a full-grown tree yet, but it's proof that growth has begun. That sprout is enough to show you the process works. Now imagine your self-talk as those seeds for years. You've been planting weeds of doubt and fear, but for 3 days, you commit to planting seeds of confidence, purpose, and abundance. By day 3, you may not have a forest yet, but you will see the sprout. You will feel it. And once you see it, You can never go back to believing nothing grows. So, what can you expect during these 3 days? Day 1, awareness and awakening. On the first day, you'll notice how often your old self-talk tries to take control. You'll hear the voice of doubt louder than ever before. But instead of letting it run unchecked, you'll interrupt it. For the first time, you'll consciously replace it with empowering words. It may feel awkward, forced, or even silly, but that's okay. You're breaking the old cycle. Day 1 is about waking up to the reality that you are not your old thoughts. Day 2, resistance and breakthrough. By the second day, resistance kicks in. Your old self will fight hard. You may feel tired, irritable, or tempted to quit. This is the danger zone, the point where most people give up, but if you push through, something extraordinary happens. You begin to notice small victories. Maybe you catch yourself redirecting a negative thought faster. Maybe you feel a spark of confidence when you speak with intention. These are signs that your brain is rewiring, the old you is losing power, and the new you is gaining strength. Day 3, alignment and momentum. On the third day, everything begins to click. You start to notice your body responding differently. Your posture shifts. Your energy feels lighter. You speak to yourself with more conviction, and for the first time, you begin to believe it. By day 3, you're no longer just saying words, you're experiencing the power of those words. And that experience creates momentum that carries you forward. Think of it like flying a plane. At first, you need massive energy to lift off the runway. That's day 1 and day 2. The effort feels heavy, the resistance strong. But once the plane lifts, once it's in the air, it doesn't need the same force. It rides momentum. That's day 3. The moment you realize, I can do this. I am doing this. My new identity has taken flight. This is why the 3-day challenge works. It's short enough to commit fully, but long enough to create undeniable results. And once you experience that first breakthrough, you'll want to keep going. Here's the most exciting part. The changes you notice in 3 days won't just be mental. They'll be physical and emotional too. You may find yourself sleeping better. Your energy might feel sharper. You might walk taller, breathe deeper, or smile more often without trying. These subtle shifts are proof that your subconscious is adapting to your new script. Napoleon Hill taught that faith begins with repetition, repeating thoughts until they transform into belief. 3 days of focused self-talk is enough to give you that first taste of faith. It's enough to show you that you are not powerless, that your words truly do shape your reality. But here's the warning. Don't mistake 3 days for the finish line. 3 days is the breakthrough, the spark, the ignition. If you stop, the old self-talk will try to pull you back. But if you continue, if you extend 3 days into a week into a month, and a month into a lifestyle, you'll build a new identity so strong the old one can never return. Think of these 3 days as proof of concept. If you can change your state of mind in 3 days, imagine what you can do in 30. Imagine what you can do in a year. This is the doorway. Once you step through, your only job is to keep walking. So when the voice of doubt tells you, this won't work, answer back. It already has. When it says 3 days isn't enough, answer. 3 days is all I need to begin. And when it whispers, you'll fall back. declare. Not this time. This time, I continue. Because the truth is simple. 3 days of intentional self-talk can change your trajectory forever. The seed you plant in this short time will grow roots that transform your future. And when you look back, you'll realize the biggest shift didn't take years. It started in 3 days with a decision, with a voice, with the words you spoke to yourself when no one else was listening. Every human being lives inside a story. It's not the story written by the world, or by circumstances, or by luck. It's the story you whisper to yourself in the quiet moments, the story you've rehearsed so many times. It feels like truth. And here's the secret. Your story is not fixed. It's not carved in stone. It's written in your own voice, line by line, thought by thought, day by day. Most people never realize this. They keep telling the same story year after year. I'm not good with money. I always mess things up. People don't respect me. My dreams are too far away. They repeat these sentences until they become chapters, until chapters become entire books. And one day, they look back and realize they lived a life that was nothing more than the echo of their own limiting words. But you have a choice. You can change the story. You can pick up the pen, edit the script, and become the author of your destiny. Napoleon Hill called this definiteness of purpose, the conscious decision to choose your thoughts, your words, your beliefs, and to build your life on them with intention. He understood that the mind is like a movie projector. Whatever film you load inside will be the movie you see on the screen of your life. If you want a new movie, you don't wait for the screen to change. You change the film. And the film is your self-talk. Think of it this way. Every time you say, I can't, you're writing another page in a tragedy. But every time you say, I can, I will, I must, if you're writing another page in a triumph, every word is a sentence. Every sentence is a paragraph. And every paragraph becomes the book of your life. So let me ask you, what kind of book are you writing right now? Is it a story of fear, doubt, and defeat? Or is it a story of courage, growth, and destiny? Here's the truth. The world will often try to write your story for you. It will hand you labels, criticisms, and limitations. But those don't have to become your story unless you accept them, unless you repeat them, unless you make them your self-talk. Let's make this real with an example. Imagine a woman who grows up hearing, "You're not smart enough." If she repeats it in her own mind, it becomes her identity. She avoids opportunities, afraid of failing. Her story becomes one of unfulfilled potential. Now imagine she decides to change the narrative. She begins telling herself, I am intelligent, I am capable, I learn quickly. At first, it feels false, but she keeps repeating it. Slowly, she notices herself taking new chances. She studies harder. She speaks up. She grows. Years later, did people describe her as brilliant? Did she magically become smarter? No, she simply rewrote her story. And her life rose to match it. Your story works the same way. This is why these 3 days are so important. They're not just about replacing a few thoughts. They're about reclaiming the authorship of your life. They're about taking the pen out of the hands of fear, doubt, and negativity, and putting it back in your hands where it always belonged. Remember, stories are powerful because they create identity, and identity drives behavior. If you tell yourself, I am a disciplined person, you'll act like one. If you tell yourself, I am a leader, you'll begin to lead. If you tell yourself, I attract abundance, you'll notice and create opportunities for wealth. The story you tell yourself determines not only what you do, but who you become. Napoleon Hill said, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. That mastery begins with self-talk. Because the captain doesn't just sail the ship, he declares the direction, and once the course is set, the entire vessel obeys. So here's the challenge. Stop reciting the story that keeps you small. Stop rehearsing the lines that make you powerless. Stop telling the tale of your limitations as if it's fact. Instead, start writing a new chapter today. A chapter where you are confident, where you are strong, where you are wealthy in mind, body, and spirit, where you are capable of greatness because you've chosen to believe it first before the world confirms it. And remember, you don't need permission. You don't need approval. You don't even need evidence yet. All you need is the decision to change the conversation, the courage to repeat it, and the persistence to keep going when resistance comes. Because at the end of the day, your life will always reflect the story you tell yourself. If you want a different ending, start telling a different story. The question is simple. Will you let your old words chain you to your old self? Or will you speak new words that unlock the destiny waiting for you? The pen is in your hands. The next chapter is blank. What story will you write? So here we are. You've discovered the truth most people never hear. In their entire lifetime, your life is not controlled by fate, luck, or circumstance. It is controlled by the voice inside your head, the story you tell yourself every single day. And now, you hold the key. For 3 days, you've learned how to redirect that voice, how to wake up with power, how to reinforce your new identity in the afternoon, how to seal it into your subconscious before you sleep. 3 days. That's all it takes to feel the spark of transformation. But listen closely. This is not the end. This is the beginning. These 3 days are proof that you are capable of change, proof that you can rewrite your story, proof that you can rise above the old self and step boldly into the new you. Yes, it will feel uncomfortable. Yes, resistance will fight you, but every time you push through, every time you speak words of power instead of weakness, you are carving a new destiny. You are building a new identity. You are shaping a future that matches the greatness within you. And the question now is simple. Will you keep going? Will you commit not just for 3 days, but for life? Because once you've seen the power of your own voice, there's no turning back. Remember this. Every word you speak to yourself is either building your prison or building your palace. The choice is yours. The responsibility is yours. And the power is already within you. So speak with courage. Speak with conviction. Speak as if your life depends on it, because it does. And when you do, the world will bend to the frequency of your words. Opportunities will appear. Confidence will grow. Abundance will flow. Because you will have become the person who commands it, not with luck, not with chance, but with the unstoppable force of belief spoken into existence. This is your moment. This is your breakthrough. Now go talk to yourself like the champion you are. Do it for 3 days. Do it for 30. Do it until your old voice disappears and your new identity is permanent. And when you look back, you'll remember this moment as the day everything changed. If you're ready to keep building this think rich mindset, don't just stop here. Subscribe. Join this community. And let's continue rewriting the story of your life together. Because your best chapter hasn't been written yet, and you're the author